What's up, everybody? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email that's right here. But today, you are tuned into another episode of The Archives where we take a look at classic albums from the past. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about Mos Def's album Black on Both Sides. And if you're not familiar with Mos Def, he now goes by Yasin Bey. Just to make things clear here, I am going to call him Mos Def in this review because when he dropped this album, that's what he was known by. And I don't want to cause confusion in that way. So by not calling him Yasin Bey his new name, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just trying to keep things clear and cohesive here. But Mos Def is a rapper who's coming out of Brooklyn, New York, and even though this was his solo debut album, he first really became well known as part of the group Black Star with Talib Kweli. They dropped a really great self-titled album on Rawkus Records, a label that was known for delivering high-quality traditional hip-hop during the Bling era, and if you ask me, I think that album right there is absolutely a classic. Not only because of the production, which had a lot of great beats from High Tech, but also because of the content, which was very introspective, insightful, and thought-provoking. It was just a far cry from what was going on during this gangster rap and bling rap era, although I'm not saying that shit is bad, because obviously I grew up on that, and I love that too. I'm just saying this is what made this album stand out when it dropped, and it was the same thing with Black on Both Sides, which is the album that we're here to talk about. This album dropped in October 1999 with Miss Fat Booty and Mathematics as the lead singles, and to this day, these are two of my favorite Mos Def tracks. With Miss Fat Booty, you're getting an instant standout with those soulful vocal chops, really just has the traditional boom bap feel to the production. It's a great beat all around. And of course, this is where Mos takes things to the next level with a very vivid tale about getting caught up with this girl, Miss Fat Booty. He just got enticed by those cheeks, man. He fell for this girl, but in the end, she was playing games with him, and as he says in the song, she left him to play Lay It Down and Lick Me Up with a banging ass Asian in the kitty club. So there is a little bit of humor on the end of this track, and overall, I just appreciate the high quality storytelling. You also want to make sure you check out the video if you haven't seen it, because it breaks it down even further. As for the other single, Mathematics, this has that quintessential DJ Premier sound, so as soon as you see that he's behind the production, you already know that it's going to be fire. This track has a really cool concept because Mos is using numbers and mathematics to speak on a wide variety of issues, like when he spits, I got 16 to 32 bars to rock it, but only 15% of profits ever see my pockets, like 69 billion in the last 20 years spent on national defense, but folks still live in fear. There he's just delivering some social commentary about how musicians aren't making too much, it's the labels and people behind it that are taking a big chunk, and of course he's speaking on how such an insane amount is spent on the military while people out here are suffering for a bunch of other reasons. So both of these tracks really showcase Mos's high quality lyricism and also his ability to come out with creative concepts. I gotta speak on one of my favorite songs of all time though, and that is Umi Says. This track is just incredible to me. I love the smooth, jazzy production, and Mos is singing on this with a lot of emotion. You can really feel him on this track, and even now in 2020, I think it's very powerful and poignant with everything going on in the world. Some of my favorite lines from this include when he says, I ain't no perfect man, I'm trying to do the best that I can with what it is I have, because who hasn't felt like that? Sometimes you're giving your all, it's not enough, but that's all you can do. And I also appreciate the vulnerability on that second verse where he just sings about how he's been feeling down and he feels discouraged because of everything that's going on in the world. Just a very powerful track all around. The lyricism on this will really hit you, it'll make you think, it's introspective. Mos Def is not being shallow on this album or on this song at all. I just think it works perfectly with this album's theme of freedom, blackness, and unity, especially that refrain on the end when Mos is singing for black people to be free. Really an incredible album, incredible song, I can't stress that enough. And like I said earlier, you can just tell that a lot of detail went into making this album, as well as plenty of love and care. And that's not too surprising because when you hear the song Love, you're getting this jazzy boom bap joint where Mos is telling us just that. He's rapping about how much he loves hip hop and how seriously he takes the art of MCing. He actually doubles down on this idea on the song Speed Law. This one is a bit more braggadocious and boastful as he is firing shots at MCs, just warning them to slow down because of how dope his skills are. And on the aptly titled track Hip Hop, he spits, we went from picking cotton to chain gang, line chopping, to bebopping, to hip hopping. He's just speaking from a historical standpoint about how hip hop has helped black people over the years. But just to be clear, there are some bars on the end of this track where he says, hip hop will simply amaze you, praise you, pay you, do whatever you say do, but black, it can't save you. I just took this part here as him speaking on how hip-hop can do uplifting things for you, but at the same time, you have to do more than that. You can't just rap when you're out here, man. You gotta be focusing on stuff that's going on in the community, maybe take more action and be more committed to making change. Certainly some themes that are still prevalent right now in 2020, and right now in August of 2020, where there's so much going on in the world, and we have a lot of these discussions about improving things for everybody, man, and social justice. So really a great track. I just feel like this album, especially as I've been working on this review lately, it really was ahead of its time. Not to say Most was the first one to do this type of content, to get political, to speak those black empowerment bars. I'm just saying it really hit me as I was listening to this, and the fact that it did drop during that bling era and all the gangster rap shit. It was so different. It really cut through all of that. And I love that stuff. Just to reiterate it, I'm not talking down on that stuff because I really enjoy that, just like anyone else who came up on that stuff. But this was something that was a little more different. It was thought-provoking, and I'm glad that I had this in rotation when it dropped back in '99. You are going to get some more great subject matter on here with Brooklyn and Habitat. These two tracks have Most just speaking honestly about where he comes from and how important it is to have that feeling of home. The song Brooklyn in particular is extra dope to me with those shimmering keys, the beat switch up, and of course the Red Hot Chili Peppers Under the Bridge interpolation on the first verse. But another personal favorite track of mine has got to be Got. This one has a funky feel to the production on it. It comes to us from Ali Shaheed Muhammad, of course from A Tribe Called Quest, and Most is on here just warning people about all the ways that you can get got if you're not careful. If you're playing a dice game with all your money out, flexing your jewelry in neighborhoods you shouldn't be, high posting, doing shit like that. It really is a great track that has given a lesson to people out there who want to front like they're hired or want to play with all this money and all the rollies and be out here doing shit like that. You might get got. That is a warning that Most is giving you. And to keep going with some of the other great content on here, we have the song New World Water. I love the production on this one. It has a bit of a almost circus amusement park feel to it because of those bells or the xylophone, whatever it is. And here you're getting some eco bars from Most as he's speaking on the importance of water, how we take it for granted here, whereas in other places in the world, they have trouble just having clean water, stuff like that. Even here in North America, of course, because we have the issue going on with Flint and in other communities. But this is just a really great track that revolves around water, but as you listen through, he's speaking on human greed and corruption and how maybe we don't take care of ourselves and each other as much as we should. It's really a powerful track that makes use of water bars and imagery, but as you listen through, you can also draw parallels into politics, social commentary, the imbalance of power all over the world. It's really a thought-provoking song and one that I appreciate from Most. Now, another standout in regards to subject matter is the song Rock and Roll. This has Most speaking on the importance of black history and culture as it applies to music, and it's a great track as he makes a connection into the creation of rock and roll music, a genre that's often accredited to white artists like Elvis Presley, but if you know your history, you know damn well that black people started rock and roll. You can look back at artists like Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley who are mentioned on this track, all the work that they put in. Really, it's just an interesting track because it starts off as this smooth hip-hop joint, but then it turns into this frenetic rock and roll track on the end of it. And back when I was younger, I really didn't like that because I wasn't into rock. I used to think to myself, why the hell does he have this happening? But now that I'm paying more attention to the lyrics, I've come to appreciate that part because he's making the connection not just in the lyrics, but also through the music. He's drawing that bridge between hip-hop and rock and roll in many different ways. It's just such a cool idea for a track, and as I've said plenty of times, there are a lot of great concepts and creative ideas here. Of course, there are clearly themes of black excellence and empowerment, as you can tell by the title. I've talked about it on a couple of these tracks as well, including that last one, Rock and Roll, but a perfect example of this is the song Mr. Nigga featuring Q-Tip on the hook. This song actually reminds me of the Tribe Called Quest song Sucka Nigga. You're getting that connection with Q-Tip there, as well as a very smooth backdrop. I love the breezy piano production here, and this is a great track that is still powerful and poignant in 2020, as Mos Def is speaking on racism and how deep it is. The whole point of this song is no matter how high up and how far you think you might get as a black person, you are still going to be seen as a nigga to plenty of people out there. He uses all kinds of examples, whether speaking on a rich athlete being profiled by police and treated poorly. He also speaks on what it was like to be a black man on a plane with lines like these: they stay on nigga patrol on American roads, and when you travel abroad they got world nigga law. That's just in regards to how deep racism and racial profiling is, no matter where you are. And he uses that last verse to speak on how racism and hypocrisy can combine to run black people through the ringer while giving white people a pass in similar situations. It's also funny at the start of that second verse when he spits, "Yo, the abstract with the mighty Mos Def, white folks gotta mumble the chorus beneath they breath." Then you hear this voice say, "I didn't say it," as he continues, but they'll say it out loud again when they get with their close associates and friends. Self-explanatory bars there. Just a great track all around, and I love how he uses different approaches to break down this idea of racism and how it can affect us in so many different ways, no matter how far away we think we might be removed from it, because that's not how racism works, man. You can be rich as hell, and as he's saying on this here, you are still going to be profiled no matter how rich or how successful you are. Truly a great track. Now, I did mention how you have Q-Tip on that song, and other than him, there really aren't too many other features to break down. You got Busta Rhymes on Do It Now. This is just an incredibly fun banger where they showcase chemistry because they're sort of splitting verses, fun beat on it as well, but not a lot of content to break down. Not saying that's a bad thing, it still fits in perfectly. And Black Star reunites on Know That, where Talib Kweli comes through with a verse. I really do love both of these songs. I don't have a lot to say about them because, again, the content's not getting too deep here, but they do fit in perfectly with this album. Pretty much every song on here is dope. I wouldn't even say there's a song that I think is really bad, although Climb doesn't provide too many talking points and is mostly just a light and breezy joint with soulful harmonies from Mos Def and Vinya Mojica. I hope I'm saying that right. To wrap up some of the other tracks here, you have Fear Not of Man. This is mostly just talking and a chorus that sets the album up, and then the outro track, May December, that is just a really nice sounding, shimmering instrumental. So those are my thoughts on Mos Def's Black on Both Sides. I wanted to make sure I talked about every track just a little bit, but of course some tracks provide more talking points and resonated more with me, so I had more to say about them. I do want to hear from you guys what you think about this album down below in the comments section, and if for some reason you have not heard this album, I highly recommend it, man. Listening through this again so many times as I was working on this review really made me realize how much of a classic it is and how much I love it, man. I would put this up there as one of my favorite albums of all time. Of course, I have plenty because I've been listening to hip-hop all my damn life. Like, geez, man, it's got to be like getting close to 30 years now because I've been listening to hip-hop since I was just a youngin'. I know a lot of songs, a lot of artists, a lot of albums, and this still would be up there as one of my all-time favorites. So I think that's saying a lot. Check it out. Hit me up down below with your thoughts and opinions. And of course, make sure you do that good YouTube and social media stuff where you show me love and you show me lots of it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.